down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What's going on, Savvy investors? Yep. Today is Monday. I'm going to get to the money sometime soon, but I got a question that got brought to me the other day from Ohio, Kia, whatever your name is. You know what I'm talking about, girl. But she asked me a question. She got my virtual assistant course and she was blazing through it, and she was having problems answering the phone, and she has a full-time job. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, did you try Google Voice? And she said it didn't work right. And I was like, she said she was unable to get back with the people in time. And I was like, okay, I get it. So have you ever thought about an answering service? And she's like, no, I didn't think about that. So let's break this off right here on the Savvy Radio Show. Welcome to the show. Nobody's on, just me. I know you thought I was going to introduce you to her, huh? But I didn't. I threw you off. So here's your problem. You have a day job. You are busy. You're a stay-home mom. You got kids. You're unable. Who in the F wants to answer the phone? That's the first thing. I love it when I talk to rookie investors. And I'm not saying this girl's a rookie. She's educated. She knows what's cracking. She wants to, one of the questions she asked me too, which I'm going to try to bring that one on too, is she wants to expand her business financially, buy more houses, acquire capital, find more deals. But let's just get to the meat of it. Time is everything, and what is it worth? And so when I was going through the questions, whether, Google Voice didn't work. Now, Google Voice works for me. Now, I have a full-time person running my Google Voice, so it just makes sense. But what if you don't have a full-time person and that person can't reply back to people? So let me just break off how I use Google Voice right now, or what my staff does, and then we'll go to Kia's question to the next level. Okay. One is, you never give out your personal information. First of all, this is pretty basic. You are just a property manager. You're not the owner. You don't want to be liable for miscommunication or miscontrusion or racism or I'm serious. Like, you are the property manager. When people find out that you own a property, all of a sudden you're a zillionaire. I love it when I go to court. Oh, you a landlord? Dude, they just assume that you're a millionaire. You got one crib that you've been dying, choking on, saving money to get this one down payment, and you're a millionaire because you own 2 homes, okay? So everyone assumes that you're wealthy because you own another property, and it just makes logical sense. Our minds, small minds, can't comprehend, but it's not how it is. So you got to assume that people think that you're balling automatically. Well, you want to deflect that as soon as possible. Rule number 1, you are just a property manager. Even when someone knows me, I have a property the other day, and I said the company owns it. You know who really owns it? The bank owns it. You know who really owns the bank? Jesus. You don't own it, all right? Forget about it. And paying it off, that ain't doing nothing but paying more taxes. And I want to get into that episode on another day, but let's just keep it basic. So you are a landlord, okay? Now, you're not a landlord. You are a property manager. And you, for sure, as an investor, myself, I don't want to answer calls. You may have a day job. So you use Google Voice in the beginning. I definitely recommend you have all your calls forwarded to that. The only phone number you should have is a Google Voice number. Now, you can have multiple Google Voice numbers through multiple Gmail accounts. You got to have a Google account. So get a Google account, and maybe get a Google account email or Gmail that's dedicated to your business, and maybe even create that Gmail like I love properties. No, I wouldn't say that, but say you are, handy dandy home services. So your email should be handy dandy home services, VA for Virginia, OK for Oklahoma, whatever. Just come up with a pretty decent email. Now, you're never going to really give out this email, but that email will give you a Google Voice number separate. One reason about that is it's separate from your email, your personal email that you should be interacting with private money and or banks. You don't want to get that colluded and you get confused. That's one reason. You want to segregate, and you should be growing your business one day that you're going to have an assistant or someone's going to run your whole empire, and you'll never be checking that email again. Bang, bang. That's how you need to do it. So create an email that's dedicated to your business for this specific type. Okay. I have multiple emails for multiple businesses for multiple reasons, but for now, we're just talking about property management. You got this email. Now, this email is connected to a Google Voice number. You go to google.com/voice, and now you have a Google Voice number. Now, you advertise, get a decent number, try to, pick a good number, but sometimes it's difficult, but whatever, get a good number. You get now this is your number that you should blast everywhere on your signs, and I've been doing this for, at least 10 years with Google Voice, so it's solid. Now, you could use other services like CallRail, but we're just going to keep this real basic right now. Now you have this phone number. Now, this phone number, this is the number your tenants call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whatever. You never answer this call, okay? That call comes in, they leave a voicemail, Google Voice transcribes that message, and then whatever you can do from there. So, hi, I'm Sally at 13 Main Street. My toilet doesn't work. Well, what I used to do is I would cut and paste that message, and then with Google Voice that I'm in that software looking at that transcribed message, I then would text that to my maintenance guy or my plumber or my side hustle guy that's a retired lawn care guy that can go out there and snake out a drain for $50. I would just text that to him. Boom. That's how you do and get it done. And so, and then I have that person that would snake that drain to let them know, don't ever give out my personal cell phone number. And honestly, don't call me either. Text me what happened. Text me the amount that I need to pay you. If you need to communicate with me, just text me first and I'll call you back. I may be on a property myself dealing with it. So you create boundaries and you create what you're doing. So that's how we use Google Voice. Now within Google Voice, it documents everything. So if you got a disgruntled tenant on there cursing at you through the text messages, it's not on your personal phone, which is a problem. You should not be using anything personal. It should always be business. For tax purposes, for liability purposes in general, don't commingle the two. If you can't afford two cell phones, which you shouldn't, you could definitely get Google Voice. You can afford that. It's free. And you keep that separate. Even if you're going to go to the next phase, what I'm about to tell you about the answering service, at least you have a concrete phone number that will hold up in court that's separate than you personally. And you should do that. Now, so when I was talking to this gal and she was like, yeah, but that's not working for me. I see people call in and I see that they have a question about a house. They're asking about the rent amount. Well, it's on the website. Well, first of all, nobody reads websites anyway. Nobody reads the details. Everybody, first of all, this new generation is all about the video. So what you should do on every property that you own, which is what is my goal right now, I'm going back to all the old school, is every property should have a video. And that's what you should do, Kia, right out the gate. Make videos, and that should solve all of those natural questions. But there's people, old school, new school, still want to talk to a human being or get answers quickly because they're impatient. I'm one of those people. I'd rather just pick up the phone sometimes and talk to the painter and find out what paint I need instead of texting, because sometimes it gets confusion. But tenants are like that too. They're making a life change. They're moving from one place into a new place, or this is their first time, or their retirement's shrinking down, scaling up. So you got to understand, they may want to talk to somebody. Well, how do you get to that point? So Kia can't, answer all the calls and call people back. And I understand that you shouldn't be doing that anyway. So let's just be effing clear. I mean, I'm cursing today. Something wrong with me. We need to be clear. Okay. Don't answer the phone. Okay. Because if you start answering the phone, you create an expectation, and an expectation you can't hold, can't deal with them. When someone moves into a property that I manage, that I have under my control, we let them know that we only respond through text messages. And we do respond within a certain time frame, 60 minutes. Usually phone calls, we will call you back, but it usually takes 24 hours because we're usually not on the phone or not in the office, and that office could be the beach somewhere. You feel me? So if you set that expectation up on the front end, then they won't want you to answer the phone every 5 seconds when they call, when they see a mouse that they shouldn't be having in their crib because they're messing around with snakes, and snakes eat mouse and they got out of the cage. I'm just playing. So how do we go to the next point? So I'm like, girl, I feel your pain. I don't answer the phone. But there was a time when I ran another business that our business was driven by the phone, meaning we were taking calls that were equaling money. Okay. And I'm real big, and that's why I have a full-time person run the phone. We answer the phone at my operation today. When she can't answer the phone, it goes to Google Voice. But our main objective at the next level, you have more than, say, 10 units, maybe 25, 50 units, you probably should have enough funds to hire a part-time person. And here's an easy way to handle that. Well, tell me that, Mr. Van Kallenberg. Well, back in the day, I would hire a senior citizen. I know this gal. She was a secretary during the day. She got off of work at 2:30 every day, and she was a pretty savvy computer person, savvy and just check the Google Voice. So I paid this gal $200 a month, and she had one of my cell phones that was forwarded from my Google Voice to her cell phone, and she would answer the phone whenever she could, and if she didn't, she would call back and pre-qualify or answer those basic questions. It blessed that senior citizen. That was her car payment. $200 was the amount of money that she could not afford on a fixed budget. And Mr. Van Kallenberg, me, savvy, whatever, came up and solved her problem. And let me tell you, she solved my problem. And I don't even know, I can't even quantify how many answers machines that she answered, but she took the bulk of the calls, the idiot calls, finding out if it's on Section A or if it's Rent A, and I gave her a list of questions to pre-qualify them. So I blessed an older lady who's to this day still my friend, and I don't need her. I outgrew her, but it kept me through several months, maybe a year or two of growth that I could not handle the phone. If you're answering the phone, you're not making money unless it's a lead or whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, you should answer the phone. You should be able at a level where you should be hiring somebody else. So what's the next point? You can't Google Voice. My girl can't handle that. She's not messing with it. She's at work all day, but she wants to jump on them. Well, here is something that was forced to me. I had a business, and all our money was off of the phone. We were selling brides on our DJ service, and brides would just call down the list, and whoever answered the phone would get the business, and they would not pre-qualify the DJ. And I don't want to get into brides, but I was like, okay, so how do I solve that problem? We just answer the phone. And if the more we answer the phone, the more money we made, because all the other flunky DJs out there had regular jobs and they were dumb enough not to answer the phone. So back then I was like, we're going to answer the phone. How are we going to answer the phone? We hired a local answering service, and then I just scaled that. And so there was a local service. I just Googled it up just a minute ago of cost, and I'm going to break down some services that I have used personally, and then you can go on from there. So just locally in Oklahoma City, I use a service in Edmond called Sooner Answering Service. I don't know the details. This is several years ago, but I remember paying $100 a month in 24 hours a day service. So if you called my real estate phone number or my DJ business at that time, when I used Sooner Answering Service, it was $100. Some gal would answer the phone, and as soon as she answered the phone on her computer, it would say this, M&M Productions, how could I help you? Or it could say, OKC Apple Homes, how could I serve you? And then she would have the data that she needed and the pre-qualified questions. When do you need to move in? How much can you afford for rent? What property are you looking at? And so on and so forth. And then she would pre-qualify these people and email them to me. And if I can tell that they're moving in 2 weeks, they're ghetto. But they're moving in 30 to 60 days, and it was one of my hot properties, that was a lead. And so she kind of just buffered the calls. And some people didn't, but it was a human being. They had no idea who they were. They thought they were sitting in our office. And then as soon as that happened, you can have that text to you. You could have that email to you. And the reason why I started out with the local one is because she knew the streets. She knew the addresses. She kind of, the lady that answered the phone obviously sits in Oklahoma and knew what was going down. So I went through this phase for a while. I had multiple businesses, and I actually tried several services. And here's one that I use that I remember. Now, their price went up. I don't know why, but let's figure it out with the calculator. But I used Novus Call. That's right, NOVUSCLL.com, Novus Call. And it was, back then it was $100 because that was like my number. But right now on their website, it says $200 a month, 75 calls for $200. Now, how they deem that one voicemail, unlimited talk time. So that's one thing that I liked about Novus. It was per call. It wasn't for time. Some answering services charge you per time. So especially you get some ghetto tenant on the line asking 100 questions about the stupidest stuff, you're jamming up your minute. So that call, that service is $2.65 a call, and it's worth it. MyLandlordHelper.com is an answering service integrated with virtual assistants that's dedicated. If you listen to the Linda Lipitori episode a couple of weeks ago, you would know about that. So that's another answering service, and her services start at $150. So stop being cheap, get the $150 minimum, and have someone else start taking the calls. Here's another service that's like $300 or $400 a month, and I use this service. It's called CallRuby.com. I'm talking about effing super service. Like, these people will learn about your business, know about your business, and they were selling brides for me. It was a couple $100 a month. I had a general manager that I had to let go at that time of my life. I was running real estate, running a DJ business, running a bridal business, all by myself, overwhelmed, going to commit something. And I read an Inc. magazine about Call Ruby. And dude, let me tell you, I hired Call Ruby. It was the best service I ever had. These ladies would go above and beyond. They were real people trying to solve problems, sell services, and bar none, it was the best service. I'm assuming they're still in business because they were baller back then. They got to be baller now. I didn't have a chance to Google them up. That's another one. Now, one that's really popular for answering the service live, and the services I heard from some of my friends, kind of janky. Sometimes it's real good, sometimes it's not. It's called PatLive.com. A lot of wholesalers, real estate people, they're already pre-trained. A lot of them are dedicated to real estate, and that's called PatLive.com, and I think their packages are $200 and above. Whatever the case may be, try it out. Now, Google it up, local, Oklahoma or wherever city you're in, Dayton, Ohio, answering service, and interview these people over the phone quickly. Now, let me give you some things to prepare. They're going to give you a list of questions that they want to know when they answer. So these are call banks. So even local people may have 3 or 4 people sitting there in a call center, and then they need that data. So start thinking about what the questions that you need to have ready when your tenant calls in, or prospective tenant or wholesaler or whatever the case may be. Now, Pat Live already has all that information because they deal with thousands of real estate investors around the country. So they're pretty much pre-qualified, but still, you might want to start out local. It might be cheaper. I mean, looks like prices have gone up since I've done this, but at least be prepared. What are the things that you want to get across? Well, what's your name? Can they get a hold of you? What's the time frames? They can patch calls into you. They'll send you a list of questions and you can fill it out. I'm hands off. That's my goal. And I want to create systems. When my systems fail, I fail, and I got to figure out how to fix it. But what I did is I told the ladies, go to this website, which is my real estate website, which hosts all my properties that are available, and you'll get all the details off me. I can print them out and PDF them to you, or you can just have you in your call notes, hey, someone's going to be calling about a property, click on this website, and the details are there. People just want to reiterate what they saw. So here's your messages. 1, here's your key takeaways. Get off the phone. as soon as possible. Stop answering the phone. Definitely do Google Voice as soon as possible and set that buffer, that margin in front of you. 2, you've got to make videos and cut off as much information as possible. Pre-qualify them. Can they afford it on the front end? And 3, so what was that? Get off the phone and hire a local answering service. Anyway, this was not rehearsed. Threw this together. Wanted to help my gal out. She's my girl. I'm down. Ohio, Dayton, doing it big. This is a Savvy Radio Show. If this was good, if you like this type of information, folks, you need to let me know, because I can bring this hard, even harder, and do some more research. I'm thinking about it. I should have had questions ready for you to go. Maybe on the next time. Other than that, go to thesavvyradioshow.com.
Thanks for listening to The Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.